What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Once again, guys, a massive thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here today, to listen to these stories and interact as well. It really does mean the world to me, and I just hope you're having a great day so far, and I hope you enjoy today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Am I the Arsehole Adopted Kids? Am I the arsehole for not letting my sister have custody of her bio kids who I adopted? When my sister Annie was 18 and I was 21, she got pregnant and had a daughter, Sophie. She developed what we believe was postpartum depression, but was never diagnosed as she refused therapy. When Annie's school started up again, our mother took on all childcare of Sophie. As mum took on more childcare, Annie seemed more like her old self. Happy, outgoing, generally mentally healthy. Then within 6 months of Sophie's birth, Annie got pregnant again with another girl, Laura, and the cycle of PPD symptoms, mum taking over and Annie's mood improving repeated. When Laura was 2 and Sophie was 3, Annie decided to move out of our parents' home, alone, and said she wanted our parents to adopt/raise her daughters. They said no. Annie said she couldn't take care of the girls, as she had her own life, and being a parent made her miserable. My husband and I already had 4 kids of our own. We bonded with the girls, and we had the resources for 2 more, so we offered to take them in, and Annie let us legally adopt them before moving 8 hours away. It's been about 5 years, and the kids are doing well. It was a rough start, but we are now a stable, loving, healthy family unit. Sophie and Laura are 7 and 8, and Annie has recently lost her job and had to move back in with our parents. Annie has now asked for custody of Sophie and Laura. I'm writing custody like that because it wouldn't be custody in the legal sense, as she willingly surrendered all legal rights to the girls and can't get them back. We checked with her lawyer. However, Annie wants the girls to live with her. Initially she wanted them full time and to legally adopt them back from us, which we obviously refused. Then she offered a compromise of alternate weeks, so 50-50 custody. Again, we refused. Given her insistence, we don't even want her around Sophie and Laura, so we've not been going to my parents' house as we typically do. It's been a month of constant badgering, insisting we let Annie bond with her daughters and allow her to at the very least take them for overnight visits, saying that Annie had PPD 5 years ago and now she's ready to be a parent. I responded that we are not babysitters, we are Sophie and Laura's parents. They're in a good place and this will be detrimental to all 6 kids, and Annie doesn't get to step in now when she never stepped up in the first place. The response from my parents and Annie is that I'm being unsympathetic to her PPD and I should let her at least have a chance, rather than deem her unfit without giving her a chance to prove herself. Plus, given that we already have 4 kids other than them, Sophie and Laura could probably do with a smaller household, and saying that we're being unreasonable for not allowing Annie to bond with her kids. You know, I'm very sympathetic to Annie's PPD. Yeah, I can't imagine what that person must be going through mentally to be suffering with that. But to give up your children and then keep coming back and wanting them back in your life, you know, I think, in my opinion, you just got to think about the kids in the situation. It's not fair on them to keep rubber banding in and out of their lives constantly, especially when they've been introduced to a new family unit with other kids as well and finally getting some normality back in their lives, to then come back in their life again and say, look, I want custody of the kids. I just don't think that's fair. I think it would be interesting to know what the kids actually think. Could that Annie be still part of their lives as like an auntie figure? Although I'm not sure that's still healthy in the current situation, you know. I don't know, that's an incredibly difficult situation, but I can't say you're the arsehole for letting her have custody. I just don't think it's right. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Fact Bears Eats Beat says, not the arsehole, not the arsehole, not the arsehole, not the arsehole. And please stand your ground. You have provided these 2 little girls with a stable, loving family for the last 5 years. You are genuinely the only true mum and dad they've ever experienced, and it is so unfair of your sister and parents to expect you to relinquish custody of your daughters, whom you have raised without any support or help from Annie. PPD is totally possible, but even with PPD, had Annie adopted the children outside of your family, not only would she have absolutely zero custodial rights to them, but she wouldn't even know them whatsoever. Being a parent is not something to get so wishy-washy about. Cabbage9988 says, not the arsehole, you're the parents. She's bored and looking to do a little fun bonding. Protect your kids. She's an aunt at their table at Christmas, by her own choices. By the way says, no way, you're not the arsehole at all. Those girls already started their life off with a parent that wasn't present mentally and basically gave them up. They don't deserve to have their life be uprooted again with someone so unpredictable. That's just my opinion. Parents that step in and out of their children's lives are the worst. And Time and Entropy says, not the arsehole at all. She gave up her rights. She wasn't interested at all for 5 years. Doesn't seem like she was much interested before that. It would be a terrible thing for the kids to be uprooted from their home environment and their siblings again, particularly with the chance that Annie will rediscover that having children requires time and effort, and that being a parent makes her miserable all over again. You are doing the right thing to protect your kids from your flaky sister. Your parents also aren't the girl's parents. They don't get a say. They enabled Annie and declined to keep the girls themselves. They need to keep their opinions to themselves. Annie is no longer the person that matters. Sophie and Laura do, and that kind of back and forth does not sound like a good idea. Now, what do you guys think of this story? What would you do in that situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not defending my little brother against his bullies? My brother Darren, 15 male, is getting bullied online in his and my parents' words. I mean, in my opinion, which might be kind of bad, but I think he deserves it. Basically, he slid into a girl's DMs, got rejected, and unleashed a ton of disgusting, sexist abuse on her. The girl made a post on Insta about it, they got shared around the kids at our school, and then a bunch of other people commented about how he had done similar things to them. It was honestly disturbing to read, and while I knew my brother was kinda off, I didn't think it was this bad. I read that he called a black girl an ugly N-word once they got into an argument about politics, and a lot of other people had awful experiences with him as well. Her post currently has over 1k likes, so a lot of people have seen it. My brother is currently suspended, and the school has decided on what they should do moving forward. However, my parents are furious with me for not sticking up for him or defending him. They have punished him, but they're currently in the mitigatory period in order to try and protect his future. It's true that it's getting pretty bad. He gets hateful DMs every day, and there's even a Darren hate page on Instagram with dozens of followers. A lot of his friends have cut ties with him, and he's constantly crying or angry. He's scared for his future, and his mental health has taken a toll. I've gotten backlash too for being his sister, and I've explained to numerous people in my DMs that I don't condone his behaviour. I think it's absolutely disgusting, etc. My parents and Darren expect me to make some sort of statement of solidarity for him, or at least tell people to move on. But I don't want to. For one, that'd get people mad at me, but two, I honestly think he deserves all this for what he did. I told him that I think his future college/career prospects are probably wrecked, but there was no one to blame but himself. That sent him into another spiral of wailing and rage, and my parents are incredibly angry that I won't support him because he can change, and ultimately he's my brother and I need to be on his side when the whole world is against him. Edit, to answer a common question, he's given a public apology, but it felt really insincere to me, since he only said it after the girl's post started getting traction. When she first posted it, he DM'd her with threats and insults to take it down, so... Also, I didn't say his future prospects were gone, as in he couldn't grow and not be sexist or racist, just that in a practical sense. He wasn't going to be getting into any really good college/become a politician like he wanted. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm totally against bullies. I hate bullying behaviour. But, you know, he caused this on himself. This is the repercussions of what he did, and I can't blame OP in the situation for taking a step back. She isn't going against him, but she's also not enabling his behaviour. She's stepping back and saying, look, what you did is disgusting and you need to own up to this. She's not saying that she doesn't love him or anything like that, she just doesn't believe his behaviour was correct. And the parents trying to tell her that she needs to back him up all the way because he's her brother. I don't think that's quite right. Why would you take the side of someone who said that? I wouldn't take the side of anyone who was talking like that, you know? If I ever personally found out one of my brothers was racist or sexist, I would disown them in a heartbeat. I just don't tolerate that shit no more, you know? But at the same time, this guy is young. Hopefully he will learn a valuable lesson from this, get educated, hopefully bounce back from this. He needs to take responsibility for what he's done. And I'm afraid that is it in this situation. So for the initial question, I can't say you're the arsehole for not defending your little brother because, you know, he brought it on himself in the end. But I would also hate to see someone bullied to the point of damaging themselves mentally and physically. So I would also say, I hope Darren gets some sort of therapy to help him through it at the same time. But let's take a look at the comments below to see what they say. Medium Q says, not the arsehole. His actions and words were disgusting, and that backlash is a natural consequence. Most people go their entire lives without doing that sort of thing. Don't ruin your own future or friendships for him. Scrappy8350 says, you are on his side. Through tough love. He has to learn that actions have consequences, and that's how he will learn to better his behaviour. You just aren't taking the position they want you to. Fringe's lawyer says, not the arsehole. Your brother's toxic online persona shouldn't be apologised for, especially by you. I get that your parents are trying to protect him and his future, but he's got to eat shit now. He made this bed, he's got to lay in it, full stop. Maybe feeling the anger from thousands of people will help him to understand how to properly treat people moving forward. I mean, in addition to going to therapy. Either way, family does come first, but you're not obligated to defend the indefensible. At most, maybe you go, okay folks, show's over, move along. And chicken named Venus says, not the arsehole. All of what he said is vile. The fact that your parents think you should be defending things from sexual harassment to racism is equally as vile, if not more. The backlash he's getting might be bad, but this is what happens when you say and do vile things. It also might be affecting him mentally, but how does he think other people have felt when he's done this stuff he's done? He deserves every ounce of what he's getting, even more so because it's affecting your reputation. This is the perfect example of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Jesus fuck, this makes my head spin. Now what do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Professional Ad 4066. Am I the arsehole for making my just turned 17-year-old niece choose between her artwork and having a family? My niece, we'll call her Becca, has been living with me and my family for about 4 months after her mother, my late brother's widow, died. Her mother was a very successful woman, but also a very liberal one. She had no problem with alternative and dark things, as long as someone also knew how to function in normal society, which she could and raised Becca to do. She had been in this niche scene since she was 13 herself, and raised Becca around those people. Becca is a very talented artist in this scene, and has been able to sell a lot of her artwork, both originals and commissions. In her highest selling year, last year, she made $14,000. The problem with all of this is that the scene and related work is very dark, very blasphemous, and quite frankly, often obscene. I know this isn't popular on the internet, but we are more traditional Catholics. We don't want and cannot have these kinds of images and ideas around our young children. Even for us, they are disturbing to view. We will not have this in the house. My husband and I understand that when she's 18, she'll do what she wants, and we didn't raise her, but not in our house. If she wants to be in this house and part of this family, she will dress like a normal person and put all of this away from the house. She can keep her demonic things at her mother's house and wait till she's 18 and move out there. The condo her mother left to her in a trust is currently sitting empty because she legally can't live there yet. We take her there once in a while to check on the place, but due to distance, it's about once a month or so. However, if she is not willing to let go, she can't be part of this family or influencing the children. She has a key to her mother's place and will have the utility bills in our name until she can switch them to hers, but she'll be on her own to be with her career forever. Between her savings and what will open up when she's 18 from her parents, she could honestly be fine for a year if someone put their name on the paperwork for her and willing to turn a blind eye, which is hard for us to do given her age, but it's better than having our kids corrupted. She is incredibly upset about this ultimatum because she doesn't want to let go of her career or be alone, but we don't see any other options. We don't have other family as my late brother was my only sibling. My parents are in a nursing home and her mother was an only child who was disowned decades ago. Our friends are torn. Some of them say nothing is more important than keeping our house pure, but some of them are saying we should consider just turning a blind eye in the house instead of outside it because of her age, which my husband finds outrageous. Our priest is conflicted and didn't have any advice. And before we go into any of the comments, I'm just going to say I'm not hating on religion in any shape or form, you know. I believe people should believe in what they really want to, you know. I'm always against the person who twist religion to their own views, you know. That's what I don't like. And I know religion is a very personal thing, but I don't see, this girl was 17, lost her parents, and you're considering sending her out on her own. And I'm not against anyone who believes in religion, in whatever religion you want to believe in, right? That's up to you. But how can this be right that turn a 17-year-old who's lost her parents and turn them away out in the world, like 17, because you don't like their art? Something that's linked her to her mother for a major part of her life, something that's all she has that links her to her mother and that she's very skilled at. You want her to forget because you don't like it in your home. I just don't know how that can make it right. And like, you always see the car sticker on the back of cars and bumper stickers sort of thing, that what would Jesus do? Ask yourself that. What would Jesus do in that situation? Do you think he would kick her out and make her fend for herself? I don't know. Get her a studio, get her her own room so she can do her art in peace and by herself. You don't have to kick her out on the streets because of this. Wow, let's have a look at the comments below to watch them get torn to shreds. Angry Ecologist says, how would you not be the arsehole? Honestly, in what way are you not a complete jerk? You're the arsehole. I presume this is fake, but I've seen people like this exist, so just in case, please be more open. Just because you think something is blasphemous doesn't make it evil. Is her art gluing live babies to razor blades? No, then it's just art. Wow. Nanny Live says, you're the arsehole, but you can fix it. Don't turn this young woman out into the world after losing both her parents. I understand your concerns for your children, but you'll be sending them very bad messages about love and acceptance if you follow through with virtually disowning their orphan cousin. I'm a devout Christian grandmother, and I can tell you Jesus will not approve of what you are contemplating. Let the girl dress however she wants to. Her home should be with you. Let her use part of her savings to rent a small studio nearby where she can work and store the artwork you have an issue with. Love her, accept her. Please don't call yourself a follower of Christ if you don't. And chick named Venus says, you're the arsehole. It's just art and clothing. I understand being a Catholic, but you can't force someone to follow your religion. I doubt she is sacrificing children to Satan. If she isn't doing that, then it isn't bad. Let people express themselves how they want to without calling them blasphemous. She'll be out of the house soon enough, so suck it up until she can move into her mother's old place. Also, you have plenty of options, but you care more about blasphemy than your own family. That's fucking disturbing. Her mother is dead. Don't alienate her from your family and make her feel alone. Do you realise how heartbreaking that is? People like you irritate me. Now, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for asking my dad to drive me home in the middle of my engagement dinner? I, female 26, just got engaged to my fiance, male 32, who's the only son my future mother-in-law has, and she is incredibly involved in his adult life. At first that didn't bother me, as I see it as a good thing that he has a good relationship with his mum, but it started getting worse with her constantly getting involved in my personal life as well. His family decided to have a small celebration for our engagement, and they invited my family for dinner. I wasn't so comfortable with having the celebration because I felt like my fiance and I should decide whether we want it or not. Anyways, I had my mum, dad, brother attend. We met some of his family members there as well. Things were going fine, till my mother-in-law talked about wedding/honeymoon and stuff like that. My fiance was talking and I just sat there listening. She then started talking about future grandkids, and this is when I got uncomfortable. I'm living child-free and planning on living child-free all my life, and I think that is mostly because of experiencing a traumatic death of my younger sibling, my sister, who was sick, and I was the closest one to her. She was young, and during her sickness I felt like I was being a mother to her. My parents knew how much her and I were connected, and her death was so devastating. I will never know what it feels like to lose a child, but losing her felt like a piece of me was gone. I don't want kids thinking they'd be gone one day, and I have to deal with this awful pain for the rest of my life, like how I'm dealing with my sister's death. I already discussed this with my fiance, but instead of telling her to drop it, he just let her go on. My parents noticed her behaviour. My dad told her I wasn't planning on being a mum, but she just laughed it off and said that I'd change my mind. They started making a toast. She made a toast saying, to my future grandchildren. I got sick of it. I quietly told my fiance I wanted to leave, but he told me to wait. I turned to my dad and asked him if he could drive me home, and my family all got ready to leave. My mother-in-law tried to pressure us into staying, but we left eventually. In about 30 minutes after our guest left, I got a call from my fiance telling me his mum wants to talk. He gave her his phone and she blew up at me for walking out and embarrassing her in front of her guests, and brought up the kids topic and said that she gets a say in that. She berated me for 5 minutes, then hung up on me. My fiance called, but I ignored him. I went home with my family feeling awful. The whole situation sucked, and I cried feeling hurt by them and their lack of consideration, and them just steamrolling my decisions as a person like that. The mother-in-law is a problem in this story, don't get me wrong, but I see the biggest problem here is your fiance just totally enabling her constantly. The fact that he was ignoring her and just letting her go on during this discussion about wanting kids and oh yeah, she have kids, blah blah blah, and just letting her carry on talking about it. And then at the end handing the phone to mother-in-law so she can berate OP. What the hell, man? Yeah, I'd be totally concerned as well. But yeah, I can't say you're the arsehole in this situation. If you're feeling uncomfortable, then you get out of places. That's just what you do. That is human behavior. I think it's better to do that than to absolutely lose your shit at her right there and then. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Miley30 says, your mother-in-law is only part of your problem. The bigger problem is that your fiance supports her and not you. He handed her the phone so she could berate you after leaving a dinner where she insulted you and tried to dictate whether you have children. Consider this a preview of what it will be like to be married to her, because you essentially will be. Not the arsehole, but proceed with caution. Kay Ellie says, absolutely not the arsehole, and I'd be really worried your fiance did not back you up. I don't often say this, but you should consider breaking off the engagement. This does not bode well for the marriage. OP replies to this saying, he let his mother say all these things without taking any action. Even tricked me into thinking he wanted to talk to me, then gave her the phone, and she kept berating me for leaving, while she didn't stop ignoring my feelings, and how that topic is so sensitive to me and very personal. I'm done with her constantly trying to get involved in everything I do. Just because my fiance lets her, that doesn't mean she has the right to dictate how I live and what decisions I make. She's so selfish and inconsiderate and has no respect for others' feelings. Terasage says, not the arsehole, do not marry this guy. He will always put his mother first and he will never have your back. If you ignore my advice and stay with him, use long-term birth control, implant or IUD that can't be tampered with, and maintain your own bank account for your income/savings, because his mother can't be trusted not to mess with your birth control, and your fiance will give his mother your life savings if she asks for it. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Or even consider joining the channel either on YouTube membership or heading on over to Patreon, where you are super appreciated for doing so. Just gives me that little inkling that one day I might be able to make it full time, but who knows. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love to you, and have a great day. Bye bye.